let's talk about how to decide which trig function is the correct one to use. So let me start with just writing down that kind of helpful way of remembering. So, ka, toa, which remember is sine equals opposite divided by hypotenuse. Cosine equals adjacent divided by hypotenuse. And tangent equals opposite over adjacent. Just remember, first letter tells me the function, the trig function. Next letter tells me the numerator, last the denominator in each case. So let's, I'm going to start with doing it this way. Let's say we were given an angle. We were told this angle is 65 degrees. Of course, this is a right angle. And we were told that this side was 15, and we wanted to solve for this side. I would always begin by just labeling all of the sides. And I always begin by labeling the longest side the hypotenuse. Remember, the longest side is the one that is across from the right angle. So this is the hypotenuse. Next thing I do is I label the adjacent side, which the two sides that make up the angle, so these two sides, one of them will be the hypotenuse and the other will be the adjacent. Okay, adjacent, remember, just means next to. And the opposite side, the leftover side, that is the one that is across from the angle, so directly across. So now I kind of look and I say, well, I was given the opposite side, okay, given that. I'm solving for the hypotenuse side. So S for solving, I guess I should put solving, given. So then I say, well, go up here, O and H. You notice I don't have the adjacent, nor am I being asked to solve for it. So O and H, so you go to the one that has O and H in it, sine. So we will write that the sine of 65 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, like that. In a later video, I'll show you kind of the last step. I just wanted to set up the problems in this. All right, let's do another one. Again, we have this right angle. Oops. Do that. Let's say that this side is 29, right here, 29 degrees. And this is 20. And I'm solving for this one. That's the side I want to figure out. So again, I would go through, I would start with, okay, this is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the longest side. The other side that touches the angle is the adjacent. And this side is the opposite. So then I say, okay, well, I was given the hypotenuse, and I'm solving for the adjacent. Well, that means adjacent hypotenuse. I'm dealing with this one, cosine. So we would write down that the cosine of 29 degrees is equal to, and keeping them in order, adjacent was x divided by the hypotenuse, like that. Okay, let's do a couple more quick examples. Okay, so I've drawn two new triangles in here. I start with the angle. And please remember, I would just begin by labeling the longest side that's across from the right angle. Now, the other side that touches is the adjacent. And the leftover side that's across is the opposite. Let's do that same thing here. Okay, longest side is the hypotenuse. The other side that touches the angle is the adjacent. And that leaves the leftover side as the opposite. Now let's just go through here and say, well, in this case, I was given the adjacent. I am solving for the opposite. So go look which one deals with O and A. That is tangent, which is O divided by A. So we would say the tangent of 36 is equal to, keep them in order, it's opposite over adjacent. And on this last one, we've got a hypotenuse and a opposite. Which one deals with opposite and hypotenuse? That is this one, sine. So we'd say the sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. All right, so this always start with labeling, O, A, and H. And I would always do that, H, A, and O. Label H, A, and O, hypotenuse, adjacent, opposite, and then figure out, okay, which side am I looking for? Which side do I have? And then figure out which trig function that is. It's that function of the angle, and then just keep your ratio in order, right? Tangent was the opposite over adjacent. So sometimes the x might be in the top, sometimes it might be in the bottom. Just keep them in order.